Welcome, everyone, to the Super Connector, where we talk about all things related to the world of influence. Everything from sales to leadership, personal branding, entrepreneurship, and my personal favorite, how to win friends and influence people. Today, we have a special guest, Adam Taylor. This is Adam's second time coming on this podcast, and he has some very interesting news about the world of high-ticket sales. So Adam is a highly skilled high-ticket sales professional that's coached over 150 remote setters and closers. He's been an integral member of Nomadic Closer and has helped scale businesses up to 1 million per month in revenue. Adam, glad to have you on for the second time. How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Stephen. Thanks for having me back. I think we got a very special host as well, Mr. Stephen Smith. We were just talking before we hit the record button about me following along your boxing journey, brother. I
Yeah,
can see
that's
the
right.
up and off of you. You're looking super sharp on that. I know we've mentioned it in the last podcast, but man, I'm a fan, bro. I'm watching, I'm following, I'm loving seeing the progress. Like just how quick. I was just saying, I don't know if anybody's watching Stephen on social media following along his boxing journey. Like your fucking rope work on the warm up. I'm like, look at him go.
Yeah.
It's awesome, dude. I'm really, really loving it. So yeah, thank you for having me on again. Thanks for sharing your
Yeah,
audience with
yeah,
me
yeah, yeah. It impresses the ladies too, so you should test it out.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it does, mate. I'm sure it
Yeah,
does, as
I
it
know,
should,
right? Yeah.
as it should.
Great, great. And yeah, maybe one day I'll do a whole thing about sales as well as I
Yeah,
scale my way through from setter to closer to manager to who knows what. Who knows what the
to
future
Lord of the
holds, right?
Universe.
Yeah, great. So there's a lot of interesting things to talk about, and you have been stirring up, I don't know if the word would be stirring up interest and curiosity, especially on Facebook in the world of high ticket sales and Instagram as well. You have a very strong personal brand. I know many people that have been talking about it. I didn't know, but I did take a look at the webinar, but of course, I'm not going to release anything that was in the webinar right now. That's all Adam's secret, and there's a lot of, but it's very intriguing. It's very intriguing. So
Yeah.
do you want to, how do you, let's see. I'll start this off with a question here. Like what are the biggest issues that you find that
Mm,
most people are facing in their career in high ticket sales right now?
mm. So I think the information I've been sharing, the posts I've been making, and the content I've been making has stirred up and has caused some conversations in the space recently. Some good, some bad. I just recently copped a lot of criticism for a post that I made, and I absolutely publicly held my hand up and said I got that one wrong. But I think the main point that I've been making the last few weeks has been resonating and has been causing conversations because it's resonating. It has been reflective of people's anecdotal experience of the high ticket sales space this year. And that's a very broad generalization. But I think that's why it's been resonating. I've been very, very diligent. I've gone to great lengths to put my best foot forward in terms of presenting data, facts, and statistics,
Yeah.
as opposed to claims or promises or opinions, because I feel that those are easily debatable and easily discarded. And I think it's something that's been a hallmark of the high ticket space of the last few years that has fatigued on people. Promises, claims, income claims, etc. I think are things that have not been productive to building trust, and they've been productive to deteriorating trust,
Yeah.
not just for prospects coming into the space because of those companies making claims to prospects, but also to high ticket closers. And so I said one of the many sentiments that's been echoed has been the theme and the reoccurring issue of credibility of a company for a closer to come in and partner with in terms of earning expectations, actual data and figures and numbers of revenue, of show rates, of close rates. That there's a lot of deception in the space, and so if we think about how much effort and skill goes into gaining trust of a prospect on a sales call, well, it's kind of no wonder that they're coming into the industry skeptical as a purchaser, as a buyer, because closers are highly skeptical of the industry. Closers don't even trust the industry at the moment. So no shit, Sherlock. Why
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
anybody then trust the person who sat there, not trusting the thing that they're fronting in the first place? And so that's just one of the sentiments that have been echoed. But really, the theme that I've seen in the pattern that the data has kind of showed, the research that I've done at least, has been that volatility in offer lifespan, volatility in marketing consistency and predictability, and volatility in the amount of time that it's taking people to earn the income that they want. So if I could just break down those individually, one of the stats that came up is that the current average lifespan of a high ticket coaching offer is for 4.7 months. 4.7 months from start to pivot or finish.
Oh, to
That's
pivot to changing offers. So that
to
includes
either a
changing
complete
offers.
revamping and pivoting of the offer, correct, which is it's almost the same as restarting from scratch,
Okay, so
or
that's not from a closer deciding to leave.
oh
That's
no, this is
that is
from the
not
offer
included.
owner
The offer
starting an
owner. Got
offer,
it.
launching an offer, and then either shutting it down or pivoting in a different direction, doing something else. 4.7 months, which is very, very difficult for then, an average closer coming in who wants to kind of grow roots and settle down and plug away at something a little bit more consistently for maybe 6, 9, 12 months at a time, when that's the average offer lifespan currently. It turns out that marketing is crashing or lead flow is dropping, and lead flow is just the same word as income for a
Yeah,
closer
absolutely.
every 2.3 months on average. And that's nobody's fault. That's just the current landscape. Ad costs are rising. Marketing fatigue happens quicker because of the more dynamic pace of the world now. So what worked maybe for 6 months 5 years ago maybe works for 6 weeks now until
Yeah.
people feel there's some level of marketing fatigue, distrust, or whatever that might be. And those are the industry stats. And what I also did is I took some time to interview 19 closers myself. Small sample size. I've had some pushback on this and some comments around that. And yes, I've been that's why I've been transparent about the number as well. Like it's 19. It's not everybody, right? I haven't been able to talk to everybody in the industry yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm working on it, but you know, what's the alternative? I don't do it,
Well,
right?
also
Just because it's 19.
another thing that I will say is that you need to interview people that have been a closer for a long period of time in order to get accurate data, or at least they have a career lifespan. Because if you're getting
Mm.
people that have only been in it for 6 months, your statistics are going to be skewed, right?
Feel so. And so, fortunately, the 19 that I did interview, and I'd love to continue that and keep gathering more data. But the 19 I did interview personally, it turned out that their average lifespan in high ticket closing was 3.6 years. So they'd all been in
Yeah.
the space for 3.6 years on average. I think that's probably just indicative. I've been in the space for 3.5 years as well, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's just indicative of my audience and the people that this message resonates with, because I hope not to deviate too far, but just to kind of highlight a point that you made there. I do think that if you are 6 months, 12 months into high ticket, I think you like this is just personal opinion, not a fact,
Yeah.
not a statement of truth. I think you should just focus on high ticket and just mastering your craft and mastering the
Yeah.
skill and just keep going. I don't think you should be worrying about, hopping on a market research interview with me. I think you've got better, more important things to do with your time right now. But
Well,
those that are,
however, I also do think it's important to plan the future. And I think that there are a lot of people I noticed I spoke with on Facebook and just people posting that heard about your webinar. And they still said, like, I'm definitely going through with this with high ticket, but I just want to be aware of what's happening. So
Mhm.
in a way, you are kind of raising awareness, right?
Fantastic. That is my absolute heartfelt intention with all of this is to raise awareness of options.
Yeah.
I've been also, some people have been mentioning that my messaging has seemed very doom and gloom. I'm claiming that high ticket is a sinking ship. It's all over. Absolutely not my intention. If that's the perception or the message that's come across, then I'll keep working on clarifying that. And these platforms are the best to do it. And this is why I'm
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very grateful for you to share this
Yeah.
platform,
Yeah.
because I can give so much more context here than I can in a 100 character Facebook post, right? And as much as I try to, it has its limit. It has its inherent limits. So to go back to that, the average tenure of the people that I interviewed was 3.6 years, and I asked what their original goals were coming into high ticket space. In fact, let me pull up the stats because I haven't memorized these ones, and so I don't like to quote things. I don't
Yeah,
like to
would you
make.
like to share your screen here? We can do that.
Oh, really? Can we now? Let
Now we
me
got
double
our
check.
own little Webby going on here.
So here it is. So 13 out of the 19 that I interviewed, so 68% stated a desire to consistently earn 20 to 30K months monthly when they entered the space.
Mhm.
14 out of 19, so 74%, 3 out of 4 mentioned that prioritizing flexibility and family time, so work-life balance was important to them coming into the space. And 17 out of 19 expressed interest in building sustainable passive income. So
Yeah,
89%, almost everybody.
yeah,
And so what unfortunately happened was when I asked then, okay, well, where are you now? What are you earning? How long has it taken? And do you have any residual income? Um, the average earnings of those that I interviewed of the last 3 months was $10,500 per month. That was an average. Only 5 out of the 19 had ever earned over $15,000 in a single month, surprisingly.
yeah.
The average hours that they were working per day to do so was 9 hours,
Mhm.
and 17 out of 19, so exactly 89% again, explicitly stated having no residual passive income streams outside of commission. Now, that's kind of what we signed up for, right? That's a built-in part to high ticket.
Yeah,
But we were suggested, and it was, I think, it is portrayed as very manageable and achievable to hit 20 to 30K months, that you're going to have time flexibility to do so. And that means that you can start putting that money that you're earning into different residual passive streams. And it's just not happening for people. After three and a
yeah,
half years in the game, it just doesn't seem to be happening for people.
yeah.
And so knowing this, and this was then, reflected in the industry stats, it was reflected in the interviews that I, at least with the people that I conducted the interviews with, it was also reflected in just anecdotal experience of people that I've spoken to in the space this year. I know some very good salespeople, some very good closers.
Yeah.
And this year, it just seemed to be a theme that, yeah, just looking for a good offer at the moment doesn't seem to be much out there. You know, think lead flows dropped right now, so just waiting for things to pick up. And I didn't get this theme of like a general feeling of people are just doing really well this year. It just
Yeah.
didn't seem to be happening. And so it got me thinking, well, why is that? I know from personal experience that we're also trained and primed as high achievers and as people that are very big into personal growth to take extreme responsibility for our situation or our results or lack thereof. And I still maintain that that's a good thing. When it becomes harmful, I've found in my experience, is when you take such extreme responsibility for a situation and ignore outside factors that may be at play, and kind of almost forget that you are incredibly dependent on the competence of others around you for you to succeed in this space as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just when it comes to a traffic funnel, I mean, I know that as a setter, I'm setting up for the closer. And a lot of people think, well, setter is not as important of a job. No, I would say it's incredibly important because I make sure that everything is set up perfectly to make their job easier. And if I was dysfunctional in my position, I'm right at the top of the traffic funnel in terms of one-on-one human communication. And if I mess up, I'm not going to push it all the way through to the end. So yes, we are entirely dependent, and working as a cohesive unit is so important. And if there's incompetent people on the team, oh boy. All right, let's
Hi.
get started. Let's get started.
Yeah, exactly. And so I know that if you take extreme responsibility and you are 3.5 years into the game and you're earning half of what you set out to, what your initial goal was, and it's taking you twice as long as you actually wanted it to take you, and you still have no signs of any outside income or any sort of financial security in terms of starting the month with your bills covered because you've got some form of residual passive income or
Yeah.
income outside of sales. Well, the natural conclusion is, well, I just must suck. And maybe that's true, but is it the whole truth? It's okay if maybe I just haven't figured some things out yet and there are things that I can still do. That is a true statement, but it's a part of the whole truth. It's not the whole truth. There are other factors at play. And so the natural conclusion is, well, if I suck and I've spent all these tens of thousands of dollars on sales training, I'm still not crushing it, and I'm still not, in the top 1% of the industry and whatnot. Well, fuck, what do I do now? I'm fucking 3.5 years into this career now. I'm not where I want to be. I'm fucking frustrated. I've spent all this money on sales training. Doesn't seem to be working the way I want to. It seems to be getting increasingly harder, and the data shows that it is increasingly harder to find offers that I align with, that have good reputations, good credibility. They have consistent and stable lead flow. They have an offer that delivers a good result for people, and they have a process that sets me up for success, as you're saying.
Yeah.
Those are like they're out there.
I
I'm
would
not saying not,
I would
but
add
they're
one thing too.
harder to find.
I
Go
would
for
add
it.
one thing that they're ethical. That's an important thing because I can't work with unethical people, right?
Right,
So add that on
right.
top of it and the list gets smaller. Yeah.
Right, doesn't it? It's like, okay, well, that company's off the list now. Well, now that one's off the list. Now that one's off the list. Now that one's off the list. And so what we're seeing, I feel, is we've gone through a period of expansion of the remote sales space. And I experienced this as a CrossFit gym owner when
Yeah.
this was back in 2017. So CrossFit was going through a huge boom, gaining popularity. Gyms are popping up left, right, and center. So it went through a huge expansion phase. And what naturally happens is a law of the universe: after an expansion, a contraction.
Yeah.
And so what happens then is, if I've got 5 or 6 gyms in a eight minute car drive radius of my house, I can now choose the best one.
Yeah.
And so then the best ones start to take the market share and the other ones fall off. And I feel that that seems to be what's happening in the high ticket coaching space in terms of the businesses. The offers have expanded and now they're contracting to only the good ones really surviving and taking market share. So what does that mean for sales reps? There's been a huge influx of sales reps, expansion. What does that mean now? Contraction. Only the best will be able to then align and find these offers
Yes.
and actually do well on them.
So there's
That's
more
just
gatekeeping
in
than
the
ever.
facts. Correct. That's just me stating the facts. That's not me
Yeah.
saying that's good, bad. That doesn't mean it's doom and gloom. It doesn't mean it's hopeful. That's just me stating the facts as I see them, and the data reflects on them. And so, if people are 3.5 years and still not quite where they want to be, and it seems to be getting increasingly harder, well, either you got to get even better, and that's a viable option. I mentioned recently in a post, I'm not the post. I do identify as a smart, lazy person. I will see if I can find the quickest and easiest way to get the result. But I'm also like, I played rugby since I was a kid, but then I went on to play professional rugby. I played international rugby. I didn't just settle for mediocre. I didn't just settle for being average. I wanted to be the best I could. I didn't just do a bit of CrossFit after my rugby career. I competed in CrossFit competitions all across Europe. I had a gym, grew that to 2 gyms. I then business coached like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a huge advocate for just getting better as well. But as long as that's a conscious choice. And so what if I feel like that's my only option? Well, now I have to work on my personal brand. I have to spend extra time outside of the 9 hours I'm already working on my offer, creating content. I have to show up and join different groups so that I can mastermind and I can network. I need to foster those relationships. I need to talk to people. I need to hop on calls maybe now and then. I need to get even more sales training, which is, also a very valuable part of gaining those skills. I need to get better at recording an intro video. I need to maybe get better equipment so that my camera, my audio, my background looks more professional. I need to get better at onboarding onto an offer and learning the skill quickly. The list of things that you need to do is just getting longer and longer and longer. Again, just me stating the facts, not good, not bad. What happened this year is that it coincided with me discovering and meeting someone in an adjacent industry to ours that has a fraction of the sales skill that we have over here. And he would tell me about all the money that those guys were making and the amount of hours that they were putting in to do that. And I just, in the beginning, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Didn't really take much notice. And I just kept on hearing it again and again and again. And then he showed us how his company works and how dialed in it is and how automated it is. And he showed me the results and the actual stats and figures. And I was like, what is it you do again? Explain this to me.
Yeah.
And so what has come to pass is now I see a place and an opportunity for people that may be a little bit disheartened, a little bit disillusioned in the high ticket space to say, hey, there is a way to enter this industry that kind of bypasses a lot of the first 12-month pain that you have over there as well, because everything has equal up and downside.
Yeah.
to give options. That's all. That's my heartfelt intention is to somebody who's like, fuck, I'm 3.5 years into this. I'm not where I want to be. I must just suck. Who the fuck was I thinking that I could get into this and be good at sales? Do I want to go back to a 9 to 5 now? I don't really want that either. So what do I do? Do I just become another sales trainer? And it's like, well, I don't want to be another one of those. Like, there's plenty of those. That's going through a phase of expansion as well now.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
what are my options? What are my options? Right? And that's not a nice place to be in. And so if I can help give people an option to earn the income that they were looking to earn and do that with the amount of time invested that they really wanted to, then that's what I'm currently doing.
That's good. And I mean, everyone needs more choices. They need to look towards
Mm.
their future. And I think that, when this comes out, a lot of people are going to realize, especially a few years into this industry, that they might need to have an exit plan. And so this is just another choice that they may have.
All I want it to be.
Yeah.
Alex Hormozy has operationalized sadness and anxiety. I love his definitions as the way he's operated
All right.
it. He defines sadness as a perceived lack of options. And so if I'm in a
Okay. Yeah.
situation and I feel like there's no other option, I'm immediately going to feel sadness and frustration and overwhelm. I'm going to be stuck. Anxiety is too many options and not enough and not a priority. So if I have a plethora of things that I could be doing, but I'm not doing anything on any of them, I feel overwhelmed and anxious. And all I need to find out is what is my priority, and that will align with the option. A perceived lack of options. I will feel sadness if I have a perceived lack of options.
And the pessimism there, of course, when there's a lack of options, right?
Correct.
And that, of
Yep.
course, adds to the sadness. Yeah, that's right. And
Exactly.
I did, throughout your webinar, it's just obviously I'm not going to talk about um, what this endeavor is that you're about to go on, but
Get into it.
you
I'm
did
happy to talk about it.
mention what was that?
We'll get into it. I'm happy to
Okay,
talk about it.
great, great, great. You did mention that the psychological effect of instability in this industry, and
Hmm.
that it really, I mean, sales is difficult enough as it is, especially working commission based. And when there's so
Mm.
much instability in this industry, it will affect people's mental health. And we know that when it comes to sales, we don't need to be pumped up all the time, but we do need to feel some momentum, right? We need to feel
Yep.
some momentum. And man, when you feel that momentum coming, you're getting sale after sale, you want it to keep going. And your deal falls apart, or the lead flow stops, or someone that is incredibly incompetent has messed everything up, and now the lead flow is not working. Now it just destroys the momentum. And of course it affects their mental health.
Yep. 100%. I
Yeah.
guarantee. So Joel Elsie's living literally right through the wall there. He's my next door neighbor here.
Yeah.
He threw up a post once and said, "Hey, if anybody's going through any sort of mental struggles in a dark place, hit me up." His fucking inbox nearly collapsed, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
He couldn't believe the amount of messages he got. It was wild. Now, again, with those struggles, with those ups and downs and volatility, those are inherently built-in things to the high ticket space. Those are things that we sign up to. I think that we always in life, there's equal up and downside. We just choose the upside that we want, given the downside that we're willing to face. The issue, I think, the disconnect right now is that the upside that was suggested and offered and marketed to us of 20, 30K months, 4 hours a day, sit by the pool, live the lifestyle, et cetera, is not materializing. And so I'm like, hey, I'm willing to take that downside for that upside. But it turns out that upside is getting increasingly harder. The top 10th percentile of income earners in high ticket right now is $220,000 a year. That's less than 20 grand a month, right? That's the top 10th percentile. Now, again, not to say it's not possible. It's just getting harder. And so I think that what then happens is there's this frustration of fuck, that's what I wanted. It's getting harder. This downside is now starting to bother me. It's now starting to
Yeah.
not really enjoy this downside anymore because I'm not getting the upside that I wanted. And so in this industry that I've been looking into, there is also inherent up and downside.
Yeah.
Luckily, the guy I'm partnered with and the system that the first 13 as of today that have made the transition and are working with us over here now is solved. The downside is completely solved. The upside of that industry is that if the average high ticket closer is earning $67,400 a year right now, the average salesperson in that industry is earning $147,200.
Yeah. That's a significant difference. What is that? Two and a
That
half? That's 250%, is it?
just more than double. Yeah, just
Yeah.
more than double. Top 10th percentile, $507,600.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Also more than double. All right. And so the way I was looking at this when I was reading these numbers and doing this research was it strikes me as if we have a certain, so it's like I'm over here in the high ticket space, like what assets do I have? Well, one thing that somebody 3.5 years in to the space should have and typically has acquired is some level of sales acumen and sales training, sales skill. That's an asset that you now possess that nobody can take away from you.
Yeah.
Well, cool. What if we take this asset and apply it to not just a different lever, but a different fucking fulcrum altogether?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if I were to just do the same as geo arbitrage? Alex
Interesting.
Hormozy spoke about this in a recent YouTube video. What if I were to go from spending USD, earning US dollars and spending US dollars to earning US dollars and spending Colombian pesos? I'm all else being the same, I'm immediately wealthier, with wealth being measured as a ratio between income and outgoings.
Yeah.
What if that were the same? What if that were to be true here? And that is exactly what I'm helping people to bridge the gap with currently. And so, yeah, probably at this point, people are thinking, "Well, you're just gonna fucking tell us what it's all about." I
Tell us what
would,
it is. And I
yeah,
do. Yeah.
I would like to start publicly sort of explaining what it is and what it's all about. The reason I didn't for the first initial phase is because there are some preconceived notions and preconceived ideas around this space because of the downside that it typically comes with. And so if I can just sort of bypass that and just explain it without knowing what it is first, then it's a lot easier, more for people to be receptive to the idea. Not that that means they're going to do it on, once they find out what it is, but at least be receptive to the idea and to some original thinking, because the world rewards original thinkers these days. There are conventional thinkers and original thinkers, and the original thinkers seem to be the ones that get ahead. And so the industry is the IUL insurance industry in the US market. IUL insurance policies being a very specific type of policy. It's the fastest growing segment of life insurance. It's growing at 23.4% annually currently. The second place is only at 12.6%. So it's growing twice as fast as that. It's a $1.03 trillion industry. The global insurance industry is a $5.5 trillion industry. That blew my mind. Your US insurance market is 20% of the global insurance market, whereas you guys make up for 4.5% of the world population.
World population. That's
That
right.
blew my
It's
mind.
about 300 million, I think, in the United States. Yeah.
Yep. You guys make up 4.5% of the world's population, and yet you make up for
Well, I'm
20%.
Canadian. I'm Canadian. We got
Oh,
free
yeah,
healthcare, so
oh,
we're
you guys. All sounds the same to me.
right.
What?
We're in the same
Isn't Trump,
hemisphere. Yeah.
wasn't Trump saying about you guys joining the
Oh
US
yeah,
recently?
yeah. Well, he was talking shit as usual. That's what he was doing, saying he was going to make Canada the 51st state. Yeah,
Yeah. Was he
yeah.
going to
Well,
buy
he
you
loves
guys
to
or something?
troll. He loves to troll.
He loves it, doesn't he? Oh, fucking
Yeah,
funny.
that's right.
Yeah. So anyway, turns out it's a huge opportunity. So the entire high ticket coaching space is an $11 billion industry.
Yeah.
And so 1.03 trillion is actually 93.6 times larger. That's almost 1,000% more. That's great. Like that's all that means is there's 93.6 times more opportunity. That shouldn't intimidate anybody and to say like, oh, well, that's a reason not to go in there. You should be excited about that because that means it's like if you are single and you were to go to a place where you had 93.6 times more of the opposite sex, well, you probably be 93.6 times likelier to find a suitable partner, right?
I've been
It's
trying
the
to
same.
find that place for a while. Do you know where it is?
Down in Provenza, mate, down here in
Oh
Provenza
yeah,
in
that's
Italy.
right. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Parque
That's
Lleida,
right.
so so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So,
so understanding these market trends has been something that I've been focusing and dedicating time to this year because I just feel and realize now maybe it's just because I'm getting old, I don't know, that if you understand a market trend, typically what can then happen is that in 3 to 5 years, you're able to get ahead and use that trend to be
yeah.
a producer and a provider in that space rather than a consumer. And so, for example, a very alarming stat that I heard this year, well, alarming, it's a stat, let's just not label it, is that 43% of all private equity investments this year have been into AI companies. And so I think that's a very high number. It's not surprising, but what does that mean about the business landscape in 3 to 5 years? If you're not able to use and leverage AI now, you're going to be used and leveraged by it.
Yes, that's a brilliant way to put it. And I constantly think about that because I do keep up to date. I'm a bit of a nerd myself, and seeing as what's happening in sales when it comes to AI, because AI is being integrated into everything, there's going to be, yeah, a lot of things are going to change in the next 10 years.
I feel so. And so if you're just aware of these things now, you're in a position to maybe then at least be a part of that growth rather than be used by it.
Yeah.
And so knowing that this is it's a very fast growing segment of insurance. And the reason being is that an IUL life is an index universal life insurance policy it's a very good policy. It has obviously life life insurance benefits to it. Also to be able to pass on wealth to your loved ones after you pass. It has certain health benefits, and it also has a compounded cash value component to it, where your money, the premium that you pay in, compounds over time, linked to market growth. And so
Okay.
if, for example, the markets go up, your cash will compound at a higher rate. Here's the kicker though. If the markets go down, your IUL growth has a bottom floor cap of 0%. So if the market suddenly plummets by minus 37% like it did back in 2008, the S&P 500 did at least, sorry,
Yeah.
dropped 37%, minus 37%, your IUL policy will stay exactly the same.
Yeah.
It
That's
will not drop.
remarkable. That's
Now,
remarkable.
if the market grows by 20%, you'll also have a growth cap of typically around 12%.
Yeah.
So it can't lose, it can only win. And it therefore, over a longer time horizon, it outperforms the S&P 500 because of that. The math in investing of losing money is way worse than gaining. If you got $100, you lose 50%, you're at $50 now. You now need to gain 100%, $50, to
Yeah.
get back to even.
Yeah.
So you lose 50, you gotta grow 100 now. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's tough. So all that to say, it's a phenomenal policy. It's very beneficial. It's very, very helpful. It has a slightly higher premium because of that, meaning it's for somebody who's a little bit more wealth-minded,
Okay.
aka rich people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If the policy and the premium that you pay is slightly higher than a typical normal term life insurance policy, what happens is that your commissions are also higher as an insurance agent.
Yeah.
And so this is why a year ago, I met someone who's now becoming an incredibly good friend of mine who has been servicing IUL insurance agents for the past 2.5 years. And so he has a phenomenal lead providing service for them, where he doesn't just provide leads, but also a whole marketing funnel and process, a whole sales system and custom CRM kitted out with conversational AI, automations, etc., and sales trainings to sell how to sell an IUL policy. The reason he specialized in that niche is because himself as an insurance agent licensed in 47 states just saw that this policy it's a great policy. It's super helpful. It's the fastest growing segment of insurance because of those reasons. And it's really more for the more affluent, not the ultra mega wealthy. So you're only talking to about 2% of the population, but just somebody who's got a little bit of money and wants to take care of their money.
Got it.
The way that works is that the typical IUL insurance policy on the low end might be like maybe $200 a month in premium. $1,000 to $1,500 a month in target premium is not unusual as a monthly premium payment into the policy. Not unusual. And so I was like, okay, well, how does one get paid out on that as an insurance agent? Is it like you just get 10% of that, like a like a sales rep? I mean, are you guys making this money up because I'm this much money because I'm making like 10% of $200, or like what's the deal here? He said, no. The way it works in insurance in the US insurance market is that if you pay $200 per month in premium, you as an insurance agent, if you're on a 100% contract with which the people that work with us are, you are owed and in commission 100% of the first 12 months premium payments.
Got it.
Meaning this person's going to pay $200 a month. That times 12 is $2,400 in commission that you're owed.
Yeah.
Now, here's where it gets even better. To solve the problem of no residual passive income in the high ticket space, the insurance industry is built around residual passive income. 80% of that commission, so of the $2,400, 80%, which is $1,920, gets paid out upfront. And the other 20% gets drip fed to you over the other 11 months. And
And
so in
that's
this
your
case,
residual income.
right. And
Yeah.
that's on a very small policy. So $200 per month is a very, very low end policy. You do that for $1,000 month premium. That's $12,000 over the first year. 80% of that gets paid out upfront. 20% gets drip fed over the other 11 months without you picking up the phone. It gets even better. Once these policies are submitted and accepted by the carrier, you get paid a couple of days later.
Okay.
Your commission doesn't get added up until the end of the month, and then some erratic 24-year-old marketer tells you that you're going to get paid. I know that you and I have been through this as well. That some fucking internet marketer tells you you're going to get paid out on the 14th, and you check your account on the 21st, and jack shit's fucking in there,
Yep.
right? This is regulated by law, regulated by the government. As soon as that policy gets accepted, boom, you get paid, and you get paid every month on that date thereafter. So you've just got constant cash flow coming in. It gets even better, Stephen. Gets
Okay.
even better. I'm scratching your head. It gets even better. Right? Every year that the premium is renewed and extended, you also get a yearly renewal commission,
Okay.
which will typically be 2 to 5% of the first year's annual premium. So 2 to 5% of that $2,400, boom, drops into your account every year that that person renews. The average lifespan of one of these policies is 12.7 years because it's a life insurance policy,
Yeah.
right? People
Yeah.
people keep them for a while. And so some of the inherent upsides of this insurance are just so contrasted with the built-in downsides of the high ticket space that I just
Yeah.
couldn't ignore it anymore. You've got regular, regulated residual income that goes on not just for months but years at a time. The other thing is that you have huge commissions that you can get paid on. So
Yeah.
if you're on a 100% contract, you get 100% of that first year premium. We're not talking about 10% of cash collected here, right? You also you have the ability to help the person pick their own price. So if you're selling an offer that's $15,000 and you can chop it up into a 2 or a 3 pay, but that's kind of it. Well, with this, if as long as it's within the budget and with its if it's within the kind of the bottom and upper floors of a IUL policy, somebody can put in $200 a month, somebody put $1,000 a month in, and they can even change that over the course of the policy. If they need to change their rates, they want to put more in, they can. If they want to put less in, they can. It's so flexible. It's
So
just
when
all
there's,
tailored to the person.
yeah, when there's so many more options, that kind of makes a sale easier, doesn't it?
I've gone through the sales training that we obviously provide for the guys that and girls that are making the transition. It couldn't be more straightforward, dude. It couldn't be
Wow.
It's not even low pressure sales, it's no pressure sales. It's just walking people through a process. And so again, it's not to say that there's not downside to the industry. Of course, Dave Ramsey at the moment is making content about how he feels that IULs are not good policies. Okay, that's his opinion, but the fact of the matter is that they have great benefits to them. Also, 98% of insurance agents typically quit in their first 12 months. And there's a couple of
Yes.
reasons for it. Number one is it's a real grind for somebody who has no sales training, no sales background. They can go and get licensed, and then it's like, what do I do now? So typically what they'll do is they'll tap out their warm market. They'll go hit up their mom, their dad, their auntie, their uncle, their neighbor, their barman, their bartender, their barber, their everyone. They'll try and sell an IUL policy to anybody that'll listen.
Yeah.
That's tough. That makes you the guy at Thanksgiving nobody wants to sit next to.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say this, Adam. I do understand what you're talking about. I was at a roofing convention in Dallas, and I met a
Mm.
woman there, and she was doing life insurance. And I
Hmm.
chatted with her a little bit more, and I was asking her, "What is that like?" And she said, "Well, I actually used to be a stripper before, and I moved over to life insurance." And she said, "I'll tell you what, some days I wish I was a stripper again because it is
Oh,
so frustrating and so
yep.
hard, and I'm having a difficult time." And she's trying to get referrals from me, and I'm saying I'm Canadian, okay? Obamacare is not going to work
Yeah.
for Canadians. But the fact that
Right.
she said that, And, but you can make a lot of money though. That's what I do know.
Well, yes,
If you get it
that's
right,
it.
you can
It's
make
a
a
building
lot
part
of
of the
money.
industry. And so somebody like her will, once she's tapped out a warm market and, trying to sell it to anybody that will listen, what you then do as a starting out insurance agent is you'll go and buy leads, right? You'll go and buy a package of leads from different lead providers. Now, the issue with most lead providers is a few things. Number one, they'll be selling you recycled leads. So what that means is this lead has been sold to multiple vendors, multiple different agents, and so now you're the 413th guy hitting them up that day, right?
Yeah.
Second issue, old leads. They might have put in their information a week, a month, or a year ago. And the third problem is low intent leads. And so sometimes some of these leads have put in their information, not even to find out about insurance, but to win a prize at times. I've heard this
Yeah.
from one of the guys who
Yeah.
who who was insurance.
They really do thrive on referrals, don't they? Because it's so
Correct.
hard to get cold clients. Yeah.
Exactly,
That's
right?
probably why they quit so fast. Yeah.
Because it's tough, it's hard, it's
Yeah.
very inconsistent. There's no support structure, there's not a lot of training in that space. It's just Joe Schmo off the
And
street.
so what is the biggest difference between what those guys are experiencing and then
Yep.
what
Right.
how the leads work with what you're doing?
Yes. So the difference there and the reason why I started listening was firstly because he would just tell us how much money these guys were making. So he was telling us about this one guy. He came in his first month, he'd submitted $62,000 worth of applications in his first 4 weeks whilst working a full-time job. And he'd never sold an IUL policy before. I was like, okay, that's crazy. Eli Juarez, $101,000 was her biggest month. Little old Spanish lady, fucking mother of three, $101,000 in target premium in her best month. Chris George, who actually made the sales training that the guys go through on the system, he's done no less than $60,000 a month. He's always been between 60 and 70 for the last 13 months straight. He's only ever had three chargebacks in his career. There's David Fisher did $184,000 in 1 month. That was off of 50 IUL leads and a few annuity leads, so it's a little bit different. And by the way, the $62,000, the first example, that was off of 50 leads. That's not 50 book calls. That's 50
Okay,
leads.
this is blowing my mind. Like
I know.
where are these leads coming from? What's going on?
Right. So the company they've specialized just purely in the IUL space for the last 2.5 years, and as insurance agents themselves, they just reverse engineered every single problem, stopping them from being successful and making a lot of money in insurance. Once you remove all barriers, the theory of constraint says that you're going to grow until the next constraint, and the next constraint is just time and luck, really.
Yeah.
And so, if most lead providers are selling old, recycled, and low intent leads, well, they have a system to turn them into live in real time, exclusive, and high intent leads. And so the way that they do that is they run Google ads. Most lead providers will, I'm giving the secret sauce here as well. Like most lead providers will run Facebook or Instagram ads
Yeah.
because it's easier, cheaper. But think about the psychology of that. Am I really scrolling through Instagram, looking at my funny cat videos and seeing what my friends have been doing? And then an ad pops up for about an IUL policy, and I'm like, damn, I'm so glad I saw this ad.
Yeah.
You're gonna be curious, not on some level committed. And so he runs Google ads. What are people doing on Google? They are typing and searching. They must have heard something about IUL.
Oh,
They got told about it from a friend. They heard it on a fucking YouTube video or whatever. And they're typing in IUL insurance policies.
that's a
Well,
perfect way to target the client. That's perfect because they're
right.
searching for it at that moment. It's not
So
like
there's
they came
already
across something and said, "Oh, maybe I should look into my life insurance." They were specifically focused on looking at it. Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Exactly. So there's at least some level of intent there. And so if they click on the ad, they go into the funnel, so basically just a very simple one pager, what it's about, why you should do it, some bit of objection pre-handling. And then they fill out a 13 question questionnaire. If you don't really want an IR policy, you are probably going to give up after question eight, right? There's stuff about health, income, state, tax, like lots of different questions. So that if somebody gets through that, they then, before they submit the application, they even have to verify their phone number via text so that you are definitely dealing with the correct phone number. Like if you don't want an IUL policy, you're not going through all of that. So now they've got some level of intent. Now they've got high intent. The next thing they've solved for is speed to lead and credibility. And so what happens is they then go from that page onto a personalized booking page of the agent. This makes it an exclusive lead, which also makes it FCC compliant, with their name and their face on it, and your booking calendar linked to your own personal calendar. Whilst they're on that page, that application is dropped into your personal customized GHL CRM, and it's connected to lead transfer. Lead transfer then calls your phone, you hit a button, and that automatically dials this lead's number. So they've literally just submitted the application, you get a call, you hit the button, now their phone's ringing
That's
whilst they're still on
incredible.
your page looking at your name and your face. When they pick up, you're like, hey, it's Stephen Smith here. And they're like, the guy I'm like looking at on the screen, like, yeah, it's me. Trips them out every time, right? We know that
That's great.
they know that because they know the stats and what speed to lead does for purchasing probability, but also especially in this insurance industry in the IUL space, there's not they'll go with the first person that gets them because there's not a lot of shopping around to do.
Mhm.
It's like an IUL is an IUL at the end of the day. Of course, it's slightly different with different carriers, but they're going to go with the first person that gets them. You even have, if they then hang up and they Google your name, you even get set up with your own personal credibility page, your about page, and your sort of your experience with IUL, etc. Because it's still a financial product on the internet. Um, and even if they don't pick up the phone and you don't get them on the phone, they might book in the call themselves. Or if they don't, the CRM is kitted out with conversational AI, which keeps following up with them and pushes them to book a call, can answer a question about an IUL better than any insurance agent can.
Oh yeah.
It's linked to your calendar, so it knows your availability and will just keep having the conversation with this person until they book in or they basically don't.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I mean, this is the future of sales. I mean, you become your own, you can automate so many things that you are your own business. Uh,
Correct. And
yeah,
so
that's
as an
incredible.
insurance agent using this system, imagine this as a high ticket close. You've got people that want and need your product, by the way, because 73.4% of Americans are critically underinsured in the first place, right?
Yeah.
There's a huge household coverage gap. You are speaking to people that want and need the thing that you sell. They are live and in real time. You're not hitting up a no-show list from 2 months ago, like
Yeah.
you were just saying, 4 months,
Yeah.
4-month-old
four
shows,
month
right?
old. Hey, I still book appointments with that and they do
That's
close.
because of the level of skill that you have. Imagine
Yes.
leveraging that skill into this environment, this process. You've also got people that are looking into a product that nobody's hopping on a call saying, yeah, what is it you do again? Like, is this a scam? Are you guys legit? How long you insurance industry has been around for 289 years, like
Yeah.
highly regulated. There's no question of if this is a viable thing. And I think the thing that happens then is that you have so much more opportunity to really help people tailor it to their taste with people that are live on phone in real time. They're high intent. They want to need the thing that you have, and you just need to walk people through a process. And if it's a fit, it's a fit. If it's not, it's not, and that's fine. Now,
Yeah.
is that to say that it's easy? Of course not. That people are still going to drop off on the process. They'll still ghost you. They'll still not know how to figure out Zoom because this is all done remotely as well, by the way. They'll not know how to figure out Zoom. It's still going to happen, right?
Well, what you're saying, Adam, it seems to me like what setters and closers experience in the high ticket industry, if they move over to that, we're going to say the difficulties we're experiencing here are so minimal compared to what they're experiencing with, people opting in from an Instagram ad about, e-commerce and they don't even have a dime to their name and then
Right.
they'll lie and then come on the call, right?
Right. The
Yeah.
difficulties may be different. But again, if we look at the upside and the downside, this system mitigates the top three reasons why 98% quit in their first 12 months.
Yeah.
And if there's still going to be downside in terms of people ghosting you, people dropping off, people not knowing how to work Zoom, like that still happens in the high ticket space as well, then it's a question of what is the upside? The statistical data shows that the insurance industry is earning a little bit more than double on average. That's not even taking into account people that are using this system. This company has a track record of 2.5 years of producing 60, 80, $100,000 months for their agents consistently. Even the guys, so Ian Adams is a guy who's earned no less than $30,000 a month this current year to date. And he's been traveling around the US doing that. He's actually only working 4 hours a day to do so because he's doing that off of 50 leads every month. So it gets 50 leads fresh into the system every single month. So that like 50 leads over 30-day period is what, like one and a half a day, roughly, maybe a little bit less.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's still it's manageable. And yes, it's a three-call process that you walk through people through 2 to 3. So you've got multiple touch points, but ultimately it's not a 10-hour day.
Yeah,
Right.
and it seems to me like the way you explained it, these are, well, the traffic funnel that how the leads are brought in.
Yeah,
These are very high quality leads that will have high conversion rates. Well, especially compared to cold calls that other life insurance agents are doing. It's just not
100%.
working. And these are very high
Yep.
quality leads, and that's what makes all the difference. And lead flow equals income, as you said before.
Correct. And so, yeah, obviously, a lot of people have asked me, so what are the average like close rates and conversion rates, etc. It varies wildly, of course,
Okay.
because then if everybody has the same system, the same leads, what's the variable? It's the person. But I asked him, what are the top guys doing different to the bottom guys? Like why are some of the guys, 80, 60, 70K per month and some of them are like, 15, 20, 30K? What's the difference? He said they just call the leads quicker. They're just quicker.
You mean
I
with
was like, is
speed
that
to lead?
just speed to lead? I was like,
I
and
don't,
that's
oh,
it.
I think we should actually mention that to anyone who's watching that doesn't know what speed to lead is.
Oh, yeah. So how quickly they contact the lead after they submit that application. Now it's solved for with the warm transfer, but still some people are lazy. People are like, oh, I'll get back to it in a second, or
Yeah.
I'm doing something else right now. But those are just like, no. So the guy who did 62K in his first month off of 50 leads, he had a full-time job. If he was in a meeting, he would just say, I'm so sorry. It's my wife. I really need to take this. I'm so sorry. Put himself on mute or excuse himself, do a little set call, 5 minutes, come back and like, oh, thank you so much. Nobody ever questioned it. Nobody
Wow.
ever questioned it. Sure as shit, he
Wow.
quit that job the first 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And so,
It's incredible.
as you can see, my
It,
heartfelt intention with all this is just it's an option. I know it's an industry that's otherwise very, very difficult. We have a system that mitigates the typical hurdles and downsides of that. And so for those that are thinking, well, where do I want to go from here? What do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? And do I see myself doing it in high ticket? If you do, keep going, focus, right? If you want to look at other options, then I just hope to give people a possibility to leverage the skill that they have in an opportunity that, statistically speaking, has a higher likelihood of them achieving those outcomes that they're
yeah.
looking for.
And it makes perfect sense. I mean, you're providing an option for a backup, and everyone needs to have backups. They need to have those options. And like you said before, what was it like? It was the sadness is from a lack of options, was it? Something like
Yeah,
that, that
complete.
Hormozy said. But and
Correct.
then there was the nervousness from an abundance of options that we don't know what to prioritize. But when you
Correct.
have a certain amount of options and you know that there's quite a few of them that you would definitely choose if the shit hits the fan in any
Mhm. Yep.
circumstance, like a number of these offers that happen. Um,
Yep.
it's an option, definitely an option. It seems
Yep.
like a
I
very
like that.
profitable one too.
I mean, obviously they have the track record of people that have no sales background previously, and so what we're
Oh,
doing with this first group now is currently validating the offer and validating that this if we apply sales skill to the same system that we can get at least the same, if not a better result.
oh yeah,
I'm working
definitely.
very closely with the guys there. We've organized extra live sales training for them as well from that guy David Fisher that I mentioned who did 184K in one of his months. We have a full support system. It's a phenomenal group of people that are going to be very much masterminding, and I'm really going to be very demanding of them in terms of sharing results, sharing things that are working, pooling the resources so that we can really build a group that's growing together and rising tide raises all boats and all these cliches, but ultimately just have a bunch of people that are doing cool shit, doing and like getting the job done. That's what we're building here.
And now currently this is only for US citizens, correct?
Correct. Yes, due to industry regulations, U.S. citizen or green card holder or work visa holders.
Work visa, got it. And now, is anything like this possible for other countries? Like, because I'm Canadian and I'm thinking, hey, like what's going on here? Where's my but I
Yeah. So probably because I mean, I haven't looked into it personally, but my mum actually was she used to do something very similar. She used to help retired English expats who were retired in the south of France, wealthy people to set up different life insurance and trust fund
Yeah.
systems to legally avoid tax, basically. She used to drive a Porsche, so she did all right for herself.
All right.
So it's definitely doable in other industries and countries. What I would look at is the licensing process. So that's something that we're helping with the guys with as well, helping them get licensed. It's very, very simple. It's like a 2 week process. It's like getting a driver's license.
Okay, that's right.
You
Yeah.
study, you do a little bit of study, and we've got a study course for them to go through, and then you sit the exam. Like it's so straightforward. So I would find out about that process in your country, and then also, what are other top earners earning? What sort of policies are they selling? What sort of industries are they in? And if you then are in a position where you have to then generate or find leads by certain lead providers, just make sure that they're live in real time, they're exclusive, and they're high intent. If you can just check those
Yeah.
boxes,
Yeah.
should be good.
It's all about the quality of the leads.
It is a
Great.
lot of it.
So, are there other things that you really wanted to talk about? Again,
No,
some other very important points.
yeah, that was the main subject for today. I know, as you mentioned, a lot of people have been resonating and seem to be talking about the kind of stats and figures and the content I've been sharing. Doing everything I can to be as transparent and upfront and accurate as I can be. I'm sure I'll never achieve perfection, but I'm absolutely doing my best to do so because I think we're all tired of the vagueness or the claims or the promises that are unfounded.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, if anybody does want to look more into the opportunity, find out a little bit more about how it works and what it entails, then just hit me up on Facebook's Adam Paul Taylor. There was a fake account going around recently, so if he offers you crypto, it's not me. I'm not sharing any crypto. Um,
Okay.
or Instagram on Adam_Paul_Taylor. Same handle for YouTube, and I'll be producing a lot of YouTube content as well to just educate and inform and give people a good understanding of what it's all about.
Great. And
Um,
I'll be putting all those links in the description and down below in the comment section so you can check them out. Click on it, check out his Facebook channel, shoot him a message, check him out on Instagram. He's got a good personal brand, and this seems like a very lucrative opportunity that I would take advantage of to everyone
yeah,
watching.
absolutely. Very much appreciate that, Stephen.
All right. I guess we'll just wrap it up right now. I think this was really good. Tremendous amount of information. We spoke about, the ups and downs of the industry and the instability and just backup options. And everyone should have backup options. We need those options.
Yes,
All
it's
right.
not the end of the road. There is
Yeah.
hope. There
Great.
is
So we'll
hope.
just wave goodbye to the audience. Thanks for having you on, Adam, again.
Appreciate that, Stephen. Thanks for listening in. Speak to you
Yeah.
soon.
See you guys.